to note they just had the coin toss here. The Hamilton Tiger Cats actually won the toss. They deferred. And they might not have wanted to do this because something that has happened when the Montreal Alouettes get the ball generally first, they put points on the board. That's happened practically every single game this season.
And it's a trend that started right here in week 1 of the regular season. They did it to these very Hamilton Tiger Cats.
So the Cats defer, though, and let it play out in the second half. They'll give the ball to Montreal. And there's speedy returner Larry Taylor. Taylor finds a seam and another. Finally knocked out of bounds, and great field position for a team that comes out of the chute like no other in the Canadian Football League, the Montreal Alouettes.
Well, and usually they've done it offensively. Here they get it started on special teams. Take a look at the hole right here. Look at the wall. 3 men kicking out to the left. Big gap right up the middle. Larry Taylor couldn't miss that one. Little juke on the kicker, and away he goes.
So now Anthony Calvillo and his 9-4 Alouettes. What a dynamite season. And right over the middle to Mr. Dependable himself, Ben Cahoon. Now 105 straight games with at least 1 catch.
And of course, Ben Cahoon has his battery mate, Anthony Calvillo, having a fantastic season. They've got this backfield intact. The return of Avon Coburn, strong effort from him last week. The receiving core, these guys have found very good balance this season, but will be without Kerry Watkins today. The offensive line, best in the league in terms of preventing sacks.
Looking for Richardson. And another first down. The Alouettes are a quick strike offense right from the beginning of most games, but certainly on opening drives as we take a look at the defense for the Hamilton Tiger Cats here.
And it's going to be up to these guys to find a way to get some pressure. Cornelius Anthony moves from middle linebacker up to that end spot. Cameron Siskoy takes over at middle linebacker. He brings some quickness and some aggression to that group. In the back end, the secondary, Bo Smith steps in at the corner. Joaquin Bradley, who's been a rock for these guys out in that field corner position all year, is out this week.
Avon Coburn in the backfield with Calvillo. Play action. And once again, Ben Cahoon fumbles the football. Hamilton has it, dropped it, has it back. Can you believe this? Jeff Tisdale has it, still on his feet. Tisdale will go down to the 15-yard line. Brian Bratton finally was able to catch up with Jeff Tisdale. Ben Cahoon with the reception, the fumble, and it was almost brought back the distance.
I'll tell you what, in Southern Ontario, we talk so often about the Argo bounce, something dating back to the 70s. This had to be a Ticat bounce, a couple of them, right into the arms of Lawrence Gordon. And then when he loses it, straight up in the air into the waiting arms of Jeff Tisdale. And he's got the convoy. Watch number 9, not McKay Loescher, holding him back, trying to set up his block. Nice job on that return. Great hustle by Brian Bratton.
Good job, buddy. Jeff Tisdale was destined to get that football because he knocked it out of the hands of Cahoon, went to Gordon, then back to Tisdale. 86 yards inside the 15-yard line. And Quentin Porter, second start as the Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback. That one behind the receiver, Riche Rodriguez. The Montreal Alouettes have been very stingy as a defense the last couple of games.
Yeah, these guys haven't given up a touchdown in their last 2. This has to be the best field position that the opposition has been staked with for their opening possession, though.
Again, the Cats got routed in BC a week ago. Quentin Porter, he did a lot of ice after that game. And look out. In the pocket, he throws as a touchdown! Newcomer, Ernest Jackson. His first catch, his touchdown. Just inserted into the lineup today, and you see him looking to the sky. Ernest Jackson recently lost his father to cancer, and he was dedicating this game and his start to his late father.
And what a nice play for Ernest Jackson to come up with in that situation. It was a big thank you, as you saw in the last play, to Trey Smith, the tailback who slid across the formation to pick up the blitz, is the man who made that play possible.
Well, the Alouettes don't normally not score early on, and the Cats normally don't either. They lead 7-0. Back at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton, where the Tiger Cats will scrimmage from their 7-yard line. They're saying that's where the ball went out there, so there was no single point from Duval. The Alouettes would probably rather have it this way, try to pin the ears back of the Tiger Cats. Trey Smith gets his first handoff of the day. This is a team loaded with running backs, although none of their star running backs are in the lineup today.
Well, people are going to wonder why we've called the name Trey Smith a couple times here. Kenton Keith has been battling the flu. Jesse Lumsden, of course, still out and injured. Terry Colley on the injured list for the rest of the season. In the receiving core, you're getting your first look at Ernest Jackson because Tony Miles is out of the lineup. On the offensive line, once again, Gerald Davis makes his second start of the season after a tough performance from this group a week ago.
Throwing down Porter from his goal line. Spaulding has it. There's a penalty flag, and usually in midfield like that, it often signals a holding call. Our starting lineups, by the way, are brought to you by Holiday Inn Hotels. Look again at Holiday Inn. Ken Lazaruk is our referee today here in Hamilton.
Holding, Hamilton, number 65. Half the distance to goal line. Repeat, second down.
Well, we know that the Hamilton offensive line wants to do everything in their power to avoid a repeat performance of last week where they gave up 10 sacks. They can't do this. You see Charles Thomas ends up with his hands on the back, the defensive end, Anwar Stewart, and wrestles him to the ground. Not going to get away with one of those too often.
Well, a big down here for the Tiger Cats and for the Owls defense. They can't get the first down here. They may have to give up the safety. Order from the end zone. Rush comes down the sideline. And it's caught! What a catch by Priche Rodriguez. Did he go out of bounds and come back, though? Rodriguez finally brought down. It looked like he was bumped out of bounds and then came back inbounds, Dwayne.
Yeah, he was definitely out of bounds, but he was forced out by a defender. Fought his way back in. Made a heck of a play to catch that ball. I'm surprised that he didn't get lit up on the catch.
86 yards, just like that fumble recovery a little bit earlier, which went for 86. This was a well-thrown football by Quentin Porter, but yes, he was knocked out, came back in.
You're going to see the other defender was caught playing the ball here. That's number 40, Diamond Ferry. He was playing the ball all the way. Priche Rodriguez used all of that 6'5" frame to catch that one. Took a page from the book of Jamel Richardson for that catch. And this is something we saw last night, Rod, in that game between the BC Lions and the Toronto Argonauts. A heavily favored BC team against an underdog Toronto team. A couple big plays on the ground from Jamal Robertson gave Toronto life in that game.
Quick hitter to Rodriguez again. That's one way, then the other. Priche Rodriguez is one of the shining lights that these fans here in Hamilton can look towards next year.
Absolutely. Priche Rodriguez making a strong case for himself as a potential East Division Rookie of the Year this season. Missed the first few games of the year, but has emerged as Hamilton's go-to guy, their leading receiver this season. And as you said, something of a beacon of hope. A guy who really kind of signifies the situation for this entire team. A lot of young players with promise. It's just a question of how much upside do they have? How good will they be?
2nd and 1, shotgun, Trey Smith. Down to the 5. Again, no Kenton Keith out with the flu. No Jesse Lumsden out with shoulder injury. Terry Colley is done for the season. No Tony Miles. That's why Ernest Jackson is playing today. As we take a look at the Montreal defense.
Yeah, Montreal defensive line, anchored by Karan Williams, had 3 sacks in an earlier game this season against Hamilton. Diamond Ferry in at linebacker. Almost wasn't available for this game as he missed the team's train down here and had to catch a flight on his own. Number 20, Mathieu Prou gets the start at free safety. Etienne Boulay is out with an injured ankle this week.
Hendricks goes to the sideline. And the Tiger Cats will go first and goal, leading 7-0 over the visiting Montreal Alouettes, who have won 7 of their last 8. So far, so good for Quentin Porter in his second start. Shotgun again. Trey Smith again. Smith lunging forward, takes a big hit. Right at the goal line from Matthew Prue.
Big collision down there between Prue and Smith. Good effort, leg drive from Trey Smith on those 2 running plays down close. The last 2 where it looked like he was dead to rights at the line of scrimmage. Somehow found a way to squirt through there.
This Montreal defense certainly can put the clamps down in close to the goal line. They have been so effective against so many teams this season. Second goal now. And they stop them. So now third down. And the crowd, you know what they want to do.
From 1 yard out, you have to go in this situation when you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Have to.
Again, this is an Alouette team that has been outstanding on goal line stands.
You're given the ball at the 1 yard line against a heavily favored team like this, you have to go.
Reporting in as an eligible player, 61 Hamilton.
Searcy and Smith in the backfield. Porter behind center. And Porter takes off himself. Touchdown! Robert Pavlovic does it. That's the second time they've done that with him this season.
I know the boys back in the studio are going to love this one. There's been so much frustration at teams being predictable, trying to pound it in down close. Hamilton sold it. Like they were running this one all the way. They had everybody in the box. Even brought in one of the receivers, Scott Mitchell, to block. You're going to see Mitchell on the left edge. Pavlovic is the right tight end. Just a swim move into the corner route. Former University of South Carolina tight end has the touchdown. Nice job by Quentin Porter selling the run.
Nice job. Great job by the Cats early on here. 14-0. They lead the way.
We're going to take another look at this touchdown. Keep an eye on the tight end, Robert Pavlovic, on this play. The key to this is he gets his hands on the defenders. They think he's trying to block them. And that's why they don't go into coverage. They just think they've done a great job and have beaten the block. That's what leaves him wide open as he goes to the corner. Tons of time for Porter, tons of space for Pavlovic.
Loose ball here for Taylor again. He's done a nice job so far today. Still on his feet, finally brought down. Pavlovic out of Mississauga played his college ball at South Carolina, draft pick last year.
What's up, brother? Here we go.
That's his second touchdown of the season. Very similar plays. This one, however, from Quentin Porter. And an outstanding start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and the Montreal Alouettes have now surrendered the most points in a first quarter that they've surrendered all season. Normally the most they've surrendered is 7, trailing 14-0. Colbert is smothered for a loss.
And you can just see how one phase of the game, in this case the offense, has created some momentum that's carried over to the others. The special teams did a nice job on the last kickoff, and here you see the defense bringing a little bit of enthusiasm to the table. A lot of black shirts around the ball on that play.
On the sideline for Brian Bratton. 24-yard gain.
Want to keep an eye on the right side of the offensive line here. The tackle, Jeff Parrott, and his guard, Scott Flory. Watch how they pick up the twist on this play. Cornelius Anthony is running into Parrott, hoping to occupy two blockers. Flory shows patience. He knows if Anthony's going outside, the end, McKay Losher's coming back inside. He sits in to pick that up, gives his quarterback time to make that play. Good communication between guard and tackle.
Calvillo, Colburn out of the backfield. Half the first down yardage. On the sidelines with us today, Claude Fagg. Let's go down to him.
Well, Rod, certainly no panic from the Montreal Alouettes here, even though they're down by 2 touchdowns. Kind of interesting, though, that when the Ticats were driving on 3rd and goal there, some of the players on the sidelines were actually challenging the Ticats to go for it. So certainly they're in this game. People may think that just because they've clinched first place that they really don't want this game. They obviously do. They're in the game, and like I said, so far, no panic from this team just yet.
Their coach has preached all season. Bratton for another first down. And one way to quiet a crowd is Anthony Calvillo slicing and dicing again.
This is a good play by Bo Smith, the cornerback. You're going to see Hamilton's defense being coached up to try and create turnovers. Watch Smith, number 37. He's going to fight back into this play. Watch the right arm punching up, trying to pop that ball out. He almost got this one. Brian Bratton carried it away from his body a little bit.
Calvillo out of the backfield on a crossing pattern. Once again, 3 straight catches to Brian Bratton. And that has been the sequence here. Bratton.
As you said, Anthony Calvillo has settled things down for the Montreal Alouettes. A team that could have been frazzled. Bratton comes on the crossing route, wide open as he comes through traffic. Able to turn it upfield.
Again, missing one of his favorite targets, Kerry Watkins, out with a quad injury. Bratton carrying some of that load today. 3 minutes to go, opening quarter. 14-0, Hamilton lead. Calvillo looking for Richardson into the end zone, and a flag. Richardson was wide open, then looked for Ben Cahoon as Calvillo got knocked down. It's a holding call against the Alouettes.
Anthony Calvillo got knocked down at the end of that play. One of the rare times you see him get hit in the pocket.
Again, this Al's offensive line really...
Montreal, number 65. That penalty's declined. Be second down.
Al's O-line has really tightened things up. They gave up a lot of sacks last season, not this season.
Well, and much of what they've done has just been a matter of changing up their scheme a little bit. Something we'll be able to take a look at as this game goes on, but they've made their protection more solid by keeping the guards on the inside to block instead of popping them to the outside of the tackles.
Calvillo to Cahoon, has it, spins again, and is hit hard. And the 5-yard line. And that will be short of a first down. And that will bring out Damon Duvall to kick a field goal from here.
Well, this is just another nice catch by the sure-handed Ben Cahoon running to his right. He makes it look simple, but it's tough to make that catch running full speed one way, having to get your body turned around. Catches it cleanly by the Hamilton Tiger Cats' leading tackler. Markeith Knowlton was able to hang on and bring him down on that one.
Ben Cahoon marching up the list as well of receptions for Canadian receivers, close to Ray Elgard, who is the all-time Canadian leader. Damon Duvall, who leads the CFL in kicking points. Cahoon the hold. The Owls are on the board. 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. It's 14-3 Cats. Under the heading, who would have thunk? 14 13-3 Hamilton. First quarter numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
And you look at the numbers and everything's pretty even, but if we had a stat up there for big plays, the Hamilton Tiger Cats would be up 2-0, and that's exactly what put them in position to get those 2 touchdowns. That's been the difference in this game.
Let's talk about the first turnover and how important that was. Usually the Montreal Alouettes take the ball right away and find ways to put points on the board. They looked like they were ready to do that, and then suddenly Ben Cahoon fumbles.
Yeah, that's been the most unexpected thing in the game. The most sure-handed guy on the field fumbles, but the Hamilton Tiger Cats were prepared, right place, right time, and they turned it into something positive when it looked like they were about to get scored on.
Cats have had a hard time, however, in games coming from behind, but also seeing if they can preserve leads. And that's what they have to do here now. Against the wind, JoJo Walker is back as Duvall punts it away, and there's a no-yards call. Walker finds a hole. He can go. JoJo Walker off to the races. Walker to the 30, the 20, running out of gas. Finally brought down at the 12-yard line. There's a penalty flag, likely no yards. 78 yards, another big play.
And suddenly that big play tally goes to 3-0 Tiger Cats. Can they turn it into a third touchdown?
Montreal, number 43. That penalty's declined. First down, Hamilton.
Well, I'll tell you what, sometimes you get your big punt returns by design. Other times, it's by luck. Here you're going to see, if you take a look right down here, the Hamilton player gets knocked into Kerry Carter. That's Jordan Matichuk who gets knocked into Kerry Carter's legs by a Montreal player. That ends up being the key block on the play. You got to be lucky to be good.
And the guy who was whistled and flagged for no yards, Gamera Williams, newcomer to the Alouettes, comes back and saves the touchdown.
Hopefully saving himself from getting yelled at sidelines with his hustle on the play.
14 and a half minutes to go before halftime, and look at the field position, and no wonder Marcel Belfoy is smiling. Another chance to get to the end zone here for Quentin Porter. Couple of clutches there. Over to Rodriguez again on the far side as Porter was hanging in there and finally delivers it to Rodriguez.
Yeah, Quentin Porter started to get happy feet back there in the pocket a little bit. I actually thought he had a better opportunity to run the football, but kept his eyes downfield, ended up going to the sideline. His outlet receiver, Preche Rodriguez, on this play. Good protection at first, but there's decent coverage downfield. He starts to go, and then sees Rodriguez hanging out over there to pick up a couple of yards.
Motion again, second down. From behind, he's brought down and fumbled the football. And it looks like Montreal has it. And Quentin Porter took a thunderous shot from behind. Safety blitz, Matthew Prue laying a lick on Quentin Porter. Still no signal from the official yet on whose football it is. And it looks like it's going to still be Hamilton football.
You're going to see Matthew Prue come up to the left side of the line. Trey Smith tries to bump out to him. Remember, we saw him slide out earlier to pick up a secondary blitz from Jesse Hendricks. This time Smith doesn't get out there in time. That's on the quarterback's backside. Quentin Porter had no idea that shot was coming.
So Porter has to hold again now after that shot for Nick Seta from the 25. The kick is good. And the lead again is 14 points. So the Tiger Cats fortunate to hang on to the football on a big hit by the Montreal free safety. Quentin Porter last week really running for his life against the beasts from BC. Cam Wake and company, 10 sacks last week against the Tiger Cat, making his first start. Second start today has his Cats in front, 17-3. Good play here on the draw play to Trey Smith. Some good deception there on that play. Smith almost a first down. Let's go to the sideline once again. Here's Claude.
Well, Rod, just a quick update on Ticats kicker Nick Seta. You may have noticed in his last 2 attempts, one punting, one kicking, that he wasn't really following through as he probably normally would. He's actually in a bit of pain because on the opening kickoff, he sustained a knee. He took a knee to the back after he had kicked, and so he's been treated on ever since. They've been looking at him, trying to work out the kinks, trying to stretch him out. So you may want to keep that in mind next time you see him kicking, guys.
All right, thank you, Claude. Chris Bauman down the sideline, a first down. And a penalty flag against Matthew Prue for knocking him out. So this will move it even further.
And the officials probably especially sensitive to this here in Hamilton, but Bauman had already stepped on the sidelines.
Montreal number 32, 15-yard penalty applied at the end of the play. First down.
One of the great things about this place, Dwayne, is the confines and how close it is. One of the bad things as a player, and you played here, you know what it's like to play at Iverwin Stadium, how close that wall comes at you.
Well, it sure does when you're running full speed, particularly on a crossing-type route, as Bauman was on that play, and you get a little boost from a defender, you can hit those walls in a hurry.
That's why they got a lot of padding there. 33-yard pickup. Lots of time for Porter. Rodriguez. And he's got a first down.
You talk about a team bouncing back from a tough performance. How about the young Hamilton Tiger Cats showing some great resiliency here today, looking almost dominant against the East leading Montreal Alouettes. Appreciate Rodriguez, over 100 yards already. He's the only Hamilton receiver to go over 100 this season. This is his third 100-yard receiving game for the Cats.
Swing pass to Walker. Has a couple blocks. Knocked out of bounds. My name is Sanchez. So one of the things, too, that Quentin Porter is doing is he's utilizing everyone. Rodriguez, Bauman, the newcomer, Ernest Jackson, now JoJo Walker.
And following the coaching of Danny McManus, if you don't want to get hit, get rid of the ball quickly. The Hamilton Tiger Cats for years, when Danny McManus was here as their starting quarterback, always allowed the fewest sacks in the league. And believe me, it wasn't because Danny was elusive. It was because he got rid of the ball in a hurry.
Smith has a hole. Trey Smith, penalty flag. Down to the goal line, but this is probably coming back. Likely a holding call. And it is a holding call, but another good run. You mentioned that Danny McManus team back in '99 that won the Grey Cup. That offensive line that year gave up
Holding.
7
Hamilton number
sacks.
34.
7.
4 yards were gained. It'll be a 10-yard penalty. Repeat second down.
Last week, the offensive line in one game gave up 10. 7 sacks for an entire season.
But just to take a look back at this play, watch JoJo Walker. He is the inside receiver on the left side of this formation. He's going to move from the outside in to come in and block. He's the guy who's going to get called on this play. He's blocking against the defensive back, Matthew Prue. Kind of ends up on his back shoulder, but that is a close call.
NBA coach might call that a ticky-tack foul. It's called anyway. 8.5 to go. Second down over the middle, open. Scott Mitchell, his first reception. Is this the same Hamilton Tiger Cat team we've been watching all year?
Well, it sure isn't, but it's a sign of hope for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Scott Mitchell lines up as a slot to the left side, hooks it up to second level, hangs in there with the hit coming from the halfback, Matthew Prue. And by the way, there's been a shuffle in that Montreal secondary. Remember, Jesse Hendricks went down early. Prue has moved from free safety to halfback. Joel Wright is in at free safety right now.
Smith again, right into that big white wall. So it'll be second down and 7 yards to go.
You see this drive that started on Hamilton's own 16-yard line. I said the thing this team needed to prove was that they could march the ball on Montreal. Well, they're doing it right here.
Porter takes it himself. Quentin Porter. First down. We talked about those big boats he has. He can make the move.
Well, Quentin Porter, very mobile for a 6'5" quarterback, but keep an eye on the block from his center, number 62, Marwan Hage on this play. Takes his pass set, as he does on a draw play, gets upfield on Reggie Hunt. Kind of blocked him by position. Hunt had to dodge the big fella. It's always tough to block in space, but by attacking him, he made Hunt declare a side, and that created a lane for Quentin Porter.
Porter, little raindrop pass. Touchdown! Prichet Rodriguez. An amazing grab.
You're going to see Prichet Rodriguez as the outside receiver on this play. When you've got a guy who's 6'5" and can jump through the roof, you're not afraid to throw it when he's covered, and that's exactly what Quentin Porter did, because he's got faith in a receiver who's made plays all year in this situation to go up and get the ball for him.
Yes, believe it. 24-3, Tiger Cats. We are so used to seeing the Montreal Alouettes hit Pater with major scores during first halves this season. They have not scored a touchdown yet. Trailing 24-3. Jamel Richardson leaps high, brings it down. This is going to be quite the air show and catching show between Jamel Richardson and Prichet Rodriguez as they try to own the highlight of the night here today.
Well, Jamel Richardson has been the CFL's version of the human highlight film this season, but Prichet Rodriguez has certainly been up to the challenge today.
Two very similar receivers in many ways. Again, Rodriguez came to football late. A basketball player, and that certainly helps his catching skills, leaping skills. Play action, Calvillo.
Expand in this offense in recent weeks.
And there's a penalty flag that was in the backfield. This is coming back.
65, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
So never mind.
And that's the second holding call of the game on the left guard, Paul Lambert. A lot of times those holding calls, you'll see Lambert in at that left guard spot. Working again against Daryl Adams. Adams goes wide on him on a bit of a twist. Leaves Lambert with a bad angle where he's chasing to try and get to him.
Second down. We've got first down and 20. Over the middle. No one there. Communication breakdown that time. Thought for a moment Calvillo was looking for Cahoon. Brian Bratton was along the sideline, but that one, no one was home.
We saw a little earlier Montreal's offensive line and the job they did between guard and tackle, picking up a twist. This time, Hamilton defensive end went first. McKay Loescher held on to the tackle, so he wasn't able to get out to the defensive tackle. Adams twisting around. Keep an eye on that tactic.
Here's the rush again. Coburn needs some blocking. Will not get the first down. Alouettes have not got a lot out of Avon Coburn today. Again, he has been one of their stars this season, a guy who was on pace for 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving, which had never been done before until injury derailed him.
Well, Coburn's been quiet, but this entire Montreal offense has shown flashes. They've made a couple plays here and there, but Hamilton has always rebounded and been able to hold on.
from the 40-yard line. He's done all the scoring so far for Montreal. Kick is up. And right through. 2 minutes to go now before halftime. And it's now 24-6 coming up. Rona at the half. Schultze and Jock, Matty and Dave Randorf. Talk about this. I think there will be
lots to talk about.
A few stunned observers in that studio. I think a lot of people who might be thinking, man, this is a shocker so far here today because no one saw this coming.
No, absolutely not. Montreal has run roughshod over the East. They haven't lost a game within the East Division all season long.
Still another half to play, of course. Quentin Porter must protect the football. It's off again. And it's Jackson again. Jackson in his first game already has a touchdown on his first catch on that opening drive. Former Cincinnati Bearcat. Talked again with some of the Tiger Cats before the game. They really like Ernest Jackson, who's been around here on the practice roster. He's been around and finally getting a chance to play.
Yeah, Jackson's been with them since training camp. He's a guy who played tight end throughout his college career, but runs well enough to play in the slot. So there's been a bit of a learning period for him, but now you're seeing what he can do.
Porter hangs in again. Great blocking. Here's the rush. That's about wisely stepping out of bounds right near the first down marker. He's going to be a little bit shy. 9.5 yards, it looks like.
Take another look here at Trey Smith, who's done a pretty good job in protection in this game. He ends up free on this, meaning his blocking responsibility doesn't come. So he helps out his tackle by giving the end, John Bowman, a good shot in the ribs. That actually helps Quentin Porter get around the edge because Bowman is unable to recover and readjust his pass rush right.
Smith in the backfield on second and short. Porter takes himself and will have the first down. Last week, Quentin Porter saw a lot of BC Lions. And for the most part, showed some poise at times. Completely different quarterback this week. He's really gained some confidence. Maybe the fact he was thrown to the Lions last week has been able to give him something to learn this week in start number 2.
Yeah, and not to take anything at all away from this Montreal Alouettes defense, and particularly their front seven, the pressure they bring. Once you face the BC Lions, it almost seems like everything else happens at a slightly slower speed.
Trey Smith now with some room. It's a penalty flag on the play. Back behind the play, Charles Thomas was into it with Devon Claybrooks and Jermaine McElveen. And it's going to go against Hamilton.
Holding, Hamilton, number 65, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That was Charles Thomas, the right tackle.
We talked about Quentin Porter, how poised he looks. 3 touchdown passes on the day for a team that's only thrown 9 all season long.
Minute to go, first and 20. And there's Scott Mitchell. Dropped it. Fumble. Alouettes have it. And that has been one of the knocks against Scott Mitchell this year, is his inability to really hang on to the football. Oh, that was Ernest Jackson, who was in on the play as well, trying to pick up the football. And Matthew Prue, as we take a look with another hit right here on Scott Mitchell.
And a conscious decision by Prue. You saw him punch the ball out with his right arm. Ernest Jackson got a good bounce, came right to him after it was knocked free. But he was in traffic, so it was quickly stripped away from him. Nice heads-up play by Matthew Prue.
Ernest Jackson almost was able to hang on to it again, but Mitchell drops it. Another turnover. Calvillo trying to get his team to the house here. Richardson. There's something we haven't seen a lot of again following the Ticats this year. See a lot of solo tackles. It seems that almost on every occasion there's been a gang tackle, or a couple of players have been on the receiver right away.
Absolutely swarming to the ball, and that's prevented Montreal's receivers from doing much damage after the catch when they haven't been able to complete their passes.
Second down and 4. There's Ben Cahoon to tie Ray Elgard. And for a first down. So this is one that ties Ray Elgard in the CFL record books. All-time leading Canadian receivers. The next one will put him alone on top. First down, 28 seconds to go before the half. Brian Bratton. Calvillo starting to move the ball now, and so there is Ben Cahoon. Born in Ogden, Utah, went to BYU, spent a lot of his youth up in Alberta.
Yeah, spent a lot of time there growing up with family. But there is the great irony, of course, that a guy who's about to become the CFL's all-time leading Canadian receiver was born in the U.S., but spent enough time in Canada growing up to qualify as a non-import by the Canadian Football League's rulebook.
To the right, Colburn out of the backfield. And with the spot, could be another first down, and that only took 5 seconds off the clock. So this is more like the Montreal Alouettes we have seen over the last few weeks on their current roll.
When you see this Hamilton Tiger Cat defense sitting back a little bit at this stage of the first half with 23 seconds left, trying to avoid being beaten over the top. The DBs are playing with a little bit more depth here.
To the end zone. Almost had it picked for Ben Cahoon. So now 3rd and 1. Calvillo looks to the sideline. With 14 seconds to go, do you take the field goal here or do you keep it going?
Oh, they're trotting out that field goal team. Want to make sure to get some points on here. It was a nice execution defensively by Hamilton on the last play. They had actually rotated their secondary on that play. So the free safety, Rontarius Robinson, moved down low. It ended up being the backside halfback, Chris Thompson, who was the free safety. Markeith Knowlton, the linebacker, in coverage. Good job covering Cahoon, and Thompson doing a terrific job recognizing his role as the safety to get over the top and help out.
Duvall's been perfect today, 2 for 2. 3 for 3. He's done all the scoring, and again, it hasn't happened very often this season where the Montreal Alouettes have failed to score a touchdown in the first half of a game. They trailed 24-9. Nick Seta was lucky he did not have this blocked. If it was blocked, it might have gone the other way for 6.
Well, the snap slightly off target, but it still hit him in the hands. Jamel Richardson had a golden opportunity. You see him stomping his feet at the end of that play because he knew he should have had Seta downed on that play.
Matt Robichaud, the long snapper. Calvillo over the middle. And a rare incompletion as well for him. We'll have to watch the Nick Seta story as the day develops. Again, hurt early in the ball game. And you'll also have to see, if Montreal knows about his injury or the fact that he isn't 100%, how they might strategize down the stretch and maybe not take the ball at the 35-yard line, for instance, after a field goal.
Kicking game so important in Canadian football. That injury could be a huge factor indeed.
Calvillo standing in again, firing. First down once again for Jamel Richardson.
Again, you see how quickly the Hamilton Tiger Cat defenders are there and closing on the receivers. It reminds me a little bit of the Toronto Argonaut defense of old, where basically they would try and pressure the quarterback into throwing the ball quickly. Well, with Montreal, you know that Calvillo wants to throw it quickly, almost to the point that there's no point in rushing him. So Hamilton's defensive strategy seems to be sitting back and coming up and making the tackles quickly to prevent yards after the catch.
Here's that quick hitter again. Bratton. This will depend on the spot, but looks like it will move the yardsticks again. Just quick hitters back and forth from Calvillo.
And here's just some examples of exactly the point we talked about. You see how quickly Calvillo gets rid of the ball, but equally quickly, the Hamilton Ticat defenders are there making plays.
He is so good and has been so good through the years at doing that. It makes you wonder, though, he really hasn't done that little pump fake thing he does and go deep.
Wait for it.
Yeah, it could happen. Again, he does not have one of his deep threats, Kerry Watkins, in this game. But he does have Richardson and Brian Bratton. Another 1st and 10. Once again, it's Bratton who keeps piling up the yardage today. And that's exactly what the Tiger Cats' MO is here. They'll give them that play.
Montreal's gone back-to-back to that hitch screen. Feeling there's a little bit of success there because it's one of those plays that if you execute it quickly the way they did, it makes it difficult for Hamilton to swarm too much to the football because you've isolated 2-on-2. You're getting a block on one of those two defenders, then it's 1-on-1 in space.
Once again, quick fire offense. Bratton again, and the chains will advance again. 8.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And the Alouettes still have not recorded a touchdown here in Hamilton.
Montreal starting to march the football. But again, it's mostly been those short passes. Anthony Calvillo's longest pass of the day, 24 yards.
Jamel Richardson for another 1st down. And Richardson doing what he does best, and boy, he's one of the most energetic guys out there. When he makes a catch, everybody knows it.
And Jamel Richardson lines up on this play as a single receiver to that side. He's got lots of space to work. Fullback Kerry Carter clears it out by pulling the halfback Chris Thompson with him. Richardson picking up a couple of yards after the catch on that play.
Getting close to the red zone now. And Ben Cahoon can't haul that in. A little too low for two-time most outstanding Canadian. Now 1 catch away from becoming the all-time leading Canadian receiver in CFL history.
And he's got Ben Cahoon out to the flat here. But that ball is low and away. Impossible to catch in stride. Anthony Calvillo, a guy who doesn't miss the target often, knows he missed it there.
Another big defensive sequence now for the Cats. 2nd and 10, a pump fake. Calvillo, and there it is. Moves over Ray Elgard. Ben Cahoon is now the all-time leading Canadian receiver.
Well, congratulations to Ben Cahoon. As usual, it's that combination. Anthony Calvillo delivering the football. These two guys were kind of made for each other.
And there it is, the football. Well, number 831 for Ben Cahoon and counting. Now number 6 all-time. Terry Vaughn, number 1, 1,006. Darren Flutie, number 2. Alan Pitts, 3. Don Narcisse, number 4. Milt Stegall, 5. And Ben Cahoon, now all-time leading Canadian. Number 86. Now 831 catches.
And Ben Cahoon has always made it look so easy. The guy with such great hands. He's made difficult catches. look routine throughout his career, and in a way that you almost take Cahoon for granted how good he is. But when you see him on those lists, both of the top Canadian receivers and top receivers of all time, you gain a lot of appreciation for just how great he is when you see the company he's in.
And of those 831 catches, a lot of them have been in pay dirt.
Yeah, 58 career touchdowns, tops among Montreal Alouette receivers.
And so many of them also of this spectacular variety. So now the Alouettes trying to find the end zone. Calvillo, and there it is, touchdown. On the Ben Cahoon drive, Cahoon caps it off.
Yeah, we might argue that touchdown catch was one catch too late. Didn't quite have the Milt Stiegel flair for the dramatics. But fitting in a drive where he dominated. You see Ben Cahoon in that cluster formation. Ducks in behind, just hooks it up at the goal line. Just has to fall in.
Number 832 is touchdown number 59 in a glorious career for a future Hall of Famer, Ben Cahoon. And 55 of those have been from Anthony Calvillo. His 32nd touchdown pass of the season, and suddenly Iverwin Stadium is very quiet because the Alouettes are back in this ballgame. So 8.5 minutes into the third quarter, a drive that ate up 4.5 minutes, and the Montreal Alouettes finally have their first touchdown. Ben Cahoon, 24-16 the score. Ray Smith. Up to his 43-yard line, and again, what can you say about this guy?
Yet another milestone in the great career of Ben Cahoon.
And the word that comes to mind, a couple words: clutch and class.
Absolutely. You see a guy who not only just scored a touchdown, but set a significant career, reached a significant career milestone on that play. And there's no big celebration. Just acts like he's been there before. I guess in Ben Cahoon's case, he has.
Yeah, many times. Oh, fumble. And Montreal might have it. TJ Hill, just after the Alouettes score, they come back and force a turnover, although this one wasn't even forced. Bad communication on the handoff and the fumble, and suddenly the Alouettes have seized momentum in a big way.
Yeah, in the game of tennis, you talk about unforced errors. This is football's version. Looked like the handoff was executed successfully, but Trey Smith just lost it himself in trying to shift the football from one hand to the other. Was unable to get back on top of the ball, and a short field for Anthony Calvillo and Montreal's offense is the result.
And again, he's been going to so many of these hitch passes now, and the quick hitters. Maybe this might be the time that Anthony Calvillo thinks about stretching it. And he does. Jamel Richardson brought down inside the 20-yard line.
And coming off a turnover, I know Chris Schultz always likes to talk about the sudden change created by a turnover. And you catch that other team almost flat-footed, it has an emotional effect. And that's exactly what the Montreal Alouettes did. Good timing for the play call to go for the throat a little bit.
29 yards, their biggest offensive play of the day. And again, down to the red zone. Sideline, and Brian Bratton falls out of bounds. So the Montreal Alouettes, who looked a little out of sync, although Anthony Calvillo's percentages were up, did not go deep that much in the first half. You know, it was all Hamilton Tiger Cats. Suddenly are owning this football in the third quarter, and time of possession seriously in their favor.
Well, that last drive, they ate up 4.5 minutes on the clock. Any sort of offensive rhythm that the Hamilton Tiger Cats had was eliminated. The crowd was taken out of the football game. That was a case where the Ticats needed to answer with a big drive of their own to shift that back. The turnover accomplishes the exact opposite.
Again over the middle, and Wilson is in for the touchdown. And now they really are back.
Well, coming into the third quarter, we spent that time talking about how Hamilton was right there swarming to the football, making tackles. That was one of the keys. The Tiger Cats weren't missing tackles. Well, here, Jamel Richardson catches this football. At least 3 Ticats have a shot to stop him out at the 3 or 4 yard line. Richardson fights off all 3 of them to put the ball in the end zone.
And one thing you never sensed as well, even at halftime, is any panic from the Montreal Alouettes. And that has seriously been shown as well here in the third quarter, because now the convert and a team that was down in a big way, right back in it. Trailing only by 1 in the third quarter in Hamilton.
We ain't letting up, baby. Champions, baby. We got this right here.
Are now down by 1. At Woodcock. On the receiving end of this kick from Duvall. Twisting. You're back.
Well, it's so important for the offense, and here's where a case where you saw the defense losing some of their confidence. As I said, a team that was very consistent, very sure in their tackling throughout this ball game. Jamel Richardson just ran right through 3 Ticats on that play. A little bit of sign of doubt creeping into the minds of the Hamilton Tiger Cats as Anthony Calvillo and the Alouettes offense doing what they've done most of the season, imposing their will here in the third quarter.
So after fumbling the football, Porter now trying to protect it out of the backfield. Smith zigzags. And there's a penalty flag. It was in the backfield. And might this be against Hamilton?
Major foul, roughing the pass.
No, it isn't.
Montreal, number 69. 15-yard penalty from the point ball dead. First down.
Well, that's a way to get momentum back. Eric Wilson got to the quarterback a little late here. Really late.
Undisciplined penalty to take at a time when your team has the momentum. It's bad enough to give up the big play, but to add another 15 yards and give the crowd a chance to cheer about something else is big.
Ball has been in the air a lot here this afternoon. Once again, Rodriguez. Another first down. Just wondering.
Well, Hamilton answers here with the hitch screen of their own. Rodriguez is on the outside. You've got Scott Mitchell and Chris Bauman in front. Mitchell takes 1, Bauman takes 1. That creates a lane through which Rodriguez runs. That's exactly how you draw it up.
Porter trying to get his crowd back into it, too. And the Alouettes erased a large deficit. Going again to the end zone. Jump ball. And he's really been trying to go after Mark Estelle on the corner with Prichet Rodriguez. It worked a little earlier, but not that time as they set up now a 2nd and 10. Let's go down to Claude on the sidelines.
Well, Rod, we told you earlier in the game there was no panic from the Alouettes when they got down by 2 touchdowns, but they were certainly fired up when they pulled within a point here. Even the previous touchdown, I got to tell you, there was no rah-rah speech from the coach at halftime. I talked to one of the players who said Mark Trestman basically left them alone to ponder the hole they had dug themselves into, guys.
Well, they have got out of that hole in a big way. Porter again going for Rodriguez. Touchdown! Right back at the Alouettes. And it looked like he may have hurt himself up on that landing. Second touchdown of the day for Prichet Rodriguez. And this was a huge one after the Owls had scored.
Yeah, how about Quentin Porter and Prichet Rodriguez today going head-to-head with Calvillo and Cahoon? Looked as if the knee of Diamond Ferry may have caught him in that left calf as the two of them went to the turf.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats do not need this guy out of the lineup. He has been their biggest threat. He's up. And so are the Tiger Cats again. The convert. Chance to go up by 8. Quite an air show here today, Dwayne Ford. Lots of offense through the air. And Nick Seta looks like he's having trouble kicking that football, even on the convert. Heading to the fourth quarter, and Hamilton with the Tiger Cats leading by 8. Our numbers brought to you by Tim Hortons. Always fresh, always.
Well, if you had told me back in week 1 when we saw these two teams go head-to-head that at this stage, Quinton Porter, who was number 3 on Hamilton's depth chart at that time, Trey Smith, who was their number 3 tailback, that they would outpass and outrush Anthony Calvillo and Avon Coburn, respectively, I'd have thought you were nuts. This has been fantastic performance by the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
It's been CFL football at its very best. A lot of air attack, obviously, today. But you also have to beware of the Montreal Alouettes if they're Hamilton Tiger Cats. This is a team that comes by its 9-4 record, very honestly.
Yeah, they've really earned this. And we talked just moments ago about the fact that those 24 points at halftime wouldn't be enough. Montreal has scored 30 or more in 10 straight football games.
Porter takes it himself. Quinton Porter hit hard. That's the first down. And he was calling his number all the way there.
We've seen Hamilton before in this exact same situation. Second quarter of this football game, when they got down into the red zone, they go to the quarterback draw. They love this play. Quinton Porter caught a break here. This is exactly what you want to do on quarterback draw. Get the defense with their momentum going upfield, rushing, and let them run by. And that's exactly what the blitz and halfback Matthew Crew did on that play.
Inside the 10-yard line, Trey Smith down to the 3. And this is always the hard spot. Second down goal from near the 3-yard line. Trey Smith almost was able to get it over the goal line.
Well, we've seen some creativity from down close earlier in this game from Marcel Belfoy. See what he's got up his sleeve this time around.
Porter to the end zone. Touchdown! It's the hat trick for Priche Rodriguez. These guys have got some synergy going.
And I have got chills up here. The Priche Rodriguez show. You keep scoring touchdowns, your leg doesn't really hurt that much.
How about Quinton Porter? Heard him earlier say happy birthday to his mom who's watching. Oh, nice gift today. Tiger Cats leading 38-23, and Priche Rodriguez has 3 touchdowns against the Alouettes. P-Rod. Priche Rodriguez. 3 touchdowns. They are 13 minutes and 18 seconds away from pulling off a huge upset here. And again, Nick Seta struggling with that kicking leg of his. But the Tiger Cats, only 2 wins on the season, a chance for win number 3, and the first for Marcel Belfoy. And the last Hamilton win over Montreal 6 years ago.
I played in that game. Actually, I was kind of written out of the offensive game plan. It's a bit of a sore spot for me.
Calvillo again. Anybody can lead his team down. 15-point deficit. Completely nullified today is number 6.
Well, he's clearly been a focus of the Hamilton defensive game plan, as he should be. This trend of the gang tackling continues. Look at all the black jerseys going to the ball. And one of the guys who I think is a catalyst in that, Cameron Siskowick, the guy who's replaced Zeke Moreno at middle linebacker spot. So fast and so aggressive.
Calvillo in the pocket, looking once again, and the catch is made by Jamel Richardson. I cannot believe this guy.
The human highlight film strikes again. Jamel Richardson is on a corner route here in double coverage. He's horizontal in the air when he catches that football.
He makes catches that you would only see on video games.
Horizontal, turn backwards. Been there, done that.
Another circus grab from number 18. Al's need to score. Coburn in and out his hands. CFL Offensive Player of the Week. Not having a good day in Hamilton. Again, there's tons of time left here. First to 50 might be the winner.
We know Montreal is capable. As much as they're a team that can pick away at you with the nickel and dime stuff underneath, they set you up well with that for the quick strike. They can go over the top at any moment. Change the game in one play.
2nd and 10. Protection for Calvillo. Richardson on the sideline. He is the big play guy for Anthony Calvillo today.
On the trend of making tackles right away, Hamilton slipped up on that here because Jeff Tisdale took a bad angle. He's taking an angle to the football when he's got to take an angle to where Jamel Richardson is going to be so he can make the tackle. He goes to the wrong spot. Richardson turns it into yards after the catch and a first down.
Well, they're tied. Calvillo and Porter. Huge numbers in the air. Calvillo again looking from behind, though, gets hit. And Ben Cahoon takes it to the 5 for another first down. Anthony Calvillo took a big, big hit, but still delivered the football, and the Alouettes threatening to score again.
Well, Anthony Calvillo could probably hear Naughton McKay-Loescher huffing and puffing behind him as he threw this football. But AC hangs in and hangs in. And watch how he uses his feet to buy time. Eyes always down the field. He's not back there like some quarterbacks get back there and feel a little bit of pressure, start running for their lives. Calvillo's just back there running, moving around to buy a little bit more time to throw the ball.
Can the Alouettes answer? Yes, they can. Touchdown, Richardson. So it's the Anthony Calvillo versus Quinton Porter show and the Preche Rodriguez versus Jamel Richardson show.
Last team to touch the ball wins. Keep watching over the middle of the formation. You're going to see Richardson come in from the right side of your screen, sits down right in front of the goalpost. One of the few times there hasn't been a Ticat defender right there when a Montreal receiver has caught the ball.
My friends, if you like passing, this is the game you must be loving. It is a wild one at Iverwood, and it will continue when we come back on TSN. 8 points separating Anthony Calvillo's Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And now the banged up Nick Seta to kick this away. Get an idea how bad that leg and back are right now. Line drive shot. Not too bad at all. Well, a special day here today. Hamilton, a celebration.
He was back in black.
Our good friend, Angelo Mosca, the guy who really has epitomized the Hamilton Tiger Cats for so many years. What an anniversary he's celebrating.
Yeah, 50 years of Angelo Mosca being associated with this Hamilton Tiger Cat football team. A guy who truly transcends generations. You consider still at this stage, he's one of the faces of this organization.
Not only football, wrestling. King Kong Mosca. Love Angelo Mosca, the face really of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Calvillo over the middle. The ball almost picked off. A dangerous toss that time to Kerry Carter.
Montreal's looking for the element of surprise on this play. Sneaking the fullback, Kerry Carter, free-releasing him from the backfield, giving him no blocking responsibilities. He goes straight up the seam. Kerry Carter runs well. This guy is a former college tailback at Stanford. Good throw from Anthony Calvillo. Kerry Carter was unable to haul it in. Nearly picked off on the deflection, too.
Big play here with 5 minutes and change out of the backfield. Picked off! Chris Thompson has the football in what might be one of the biggest plays of this game. First down, Ticats from the 8.5-yard line.
And in a game full of big plays, the Hamilton Tiger Cats come up with another. They've gotten some bounces today. That one right into the arms of Chris Thompson. Avon Coburn's tough afternoon continues.
Well, again, so much scoring, so much offense. 5 minutes to go here. This, if the Hamilton Tiger Cats can find the end zone, could seal it. Trey Smith still on his feet, going backwards though. Now this puts a lot of pressure on this second down play.
Well, one of the few plays that's gone wrong for the Hamilton Tiger Cats today.
Former Edmonton Eskimo Chris Thompson's been a guy who's really helped solidify the secondary. That's one thing that's been pretty continuous all season long. Good play by the Cats. And now there seems to be an injury on the field. And I think this was maybe one of those last-minute injuries. Somebody took a knee there.
Well, Gerald Davis was having trouble getting back to the huddle, and his teammates were urging him to get back to the huddle so they could run the play. They wanted to keep going. But in the end, I think cooler heads prevailed, and they sort of realized this is too critical a play for a guy to be out there at 50%. Keep an eye here for number 63 to come flying in from the right at the end of this play. Gerald Davis didn't hit anybody.
Projectile.
But when you weigh 3 bills plus and you come down. Yeah, gravity was not his friend on that play.
Davis will go back to the sideline. And there have been some alterations to that O-line for Hamilton. Marco Kafka again, recently released. Victim of that 10-sack performance by BC last week. What a difference between this week and last week for the Tiger Cats.
Yeah, the Ticats have allowed just 2 sacks so far in this football game. It's a team that's second in the league in defensive sacks.
So second and goal from the 15. Porter, open is Bauman, has to get to the end zone, and he doesn't. Down near the 4-yard line. And this is going to bring out Nick Seta. They are not going to go for it on third down from here, so it's a little chip shot for Seta.
They sure have. You just can't say enough about the offensive performance of Porter and the guys around him. The offensive line that's giving him time. You can't throw the ball down the field the way he has without guys blocking for you, picking up blitzes.
Well, that just got through from a bad angle as well. So an 11-point game, 41-30. The Alouettes going to have to go for broke here. This game far from over right now. Look at the offense. And most of that racked up through the passing.
It's been all about the aerial attack for both these teams today. Quinton Porter, 5 touchdown passes. 3 to Preche Rodriguez.
Turnovers have been costly for Montreal, though. Right up on him was Bo Smith playing in that corner position, replacing the injured Joaquin Bradley and doing a good job here today.
Well, playing that exactly the way we've seen Joaquin Bradley play it all year. Quick to attack the football. Playing physical brand out at that wide side corner spot.
Should be the last play before the 3-minute warning. Calvillo stands in, Carter out of the backfield. And he'll have the first down. And that will be the 3-minute whistle here. They'll take a break and don't go anywhere. 41-30. Tiger Cat leading the way. Here's our game story brought to you by Molson Canadian. This is our beer, and like most good storybooks, the ending hasn't been written yet.
Well, we look at this game story, and Ben Cahoon reaches a major milestone, but it's been overshadowed by the pitch and catch game of both these teams today.
Coburn hangs on. 8 yards, 9 yards almost on the play. Really incumbent here that Anthony Calvillo, at the very least, gets his team in position for a field goal.
A 2-score ball game with an 11-point deficit. Montreal needs something on this drive, no question about that.
6 receivers set. There's the first down. Jamel Richardson. He's been the Preche Rodriguez for Montreal today.
But Jamel Richardson has been such a great addition to this receiving core. Sort of the bookend slot back that they've looked for opposite Ben Cahoon. Most productive guy they've had there since Jermaine Copeland left for Calgary.
First and 10 from the 41. Calvillo with an audible. Coburn up the middle. So now another key second down play. One of the things on this drive, remember, in this fourth quarter, the wind really kind of favoring Duvall here at the Alouettes. 2 minutes to go. Well within Duvall's range right now. Al's looking for another first down. They'll get it. And Avon Coburn down near the 10-yard line. And just when we were saying we have not heard much from Avon Coburn, suddenly a guy who has been a difference maker all season makes a difference here.
Well, Coburn lines up in the backfield. Alain Kashama is the defensive end. He drops in coverage on Coburn, overruns him in the flat. That's what turns that short pass into a big gain.
Calvillo looking to the end zone and caught by Brian Bratton. For a first down, there is a penalty flag. It was at the 10-yard line. Brian Bratton has also stretched out a few times and made some spectacular grabs today. Both quarterbacks employing all of their personnel.
And these offenses have been by no means a pair of one-man shows.
A little committee here. Figure this one out. Last time these teams met, end of July, was another shootout. Albeit the score was reversed in Montreal's favor. 40-33. 41-30 right now for Hamilton. Marcel Belfay, a minute 40 away from his first win as a CFL head coach.
Offside, Hamilton, number 9. It's a 5-yard penalty. The play was whistled dead before it began. Timekeeper, please reset the clock to read 1:43. 1:43, please.
So again, the time being put back on the clock because the play was whistled dead before it started, so no play.
So it'll be 2nd and 5, and they're coming out once again. Off-field officials coming over to talk with Ken Lazarick to talk about the clock. I think the Alouettes, if they had their druthers, would rather have the pass because it was down to the 2-yard line. But again, they need a score here, and being this close, the end zone would be preferential. Down 11.
Correction on that time. It should read 1:52. 1:52.
1:52.
Well, not a popular call among the Ticat faithful, but the right one. Good save by the off-field officials.
Calvillo in the pocket. Colburn again. Going nowhere. Now setting up a 2nd down play.
The primary receiver on this play, to no one's surprise, number 86, Ben Cahoon. Rontarius Robinson, the free safety, comes down in coverage. Has Cahoon locked up, and Calvillo's got to go to a backside read to Coburn, who had no room to run after he caught the ball.
2nd and 3. To the goal line, end zone, touchdown. The 2nd of the day for Ben Cahoon. And the Alouettes now are setting up for a 2-point conversion.
Well, the man that Anthony Calvillo wanted on the previous play, he gets him this time and throws the heater right into the numbers. We saw that exact same play for Ben Cahoon's last touchdown, that cluster formation. He takes the outside release, and it's tough to get to the guy who goes to the outside because the defender may have to fight through traffic and sort who's going to be inside, who's going to be outside. There are a lot of bodies in a small space.
Big play for the 2 points now. Calvillo, no one open. Calvillo to the end zone, and there's the 2 points.
Big.
That is huge. With 1:31 left, Avon Coburn makes it now a 3-point game.
We've seen Anthony Calvillo do this all season long. Threaten teams with his legs, running the football when he has to keep drives alive. But as usual, just buying time in the pocket. Notice how his eyes stay downfield the whole time. He sees everything. Ends up, as a result, with an easy throw to Avon Coburn for the 2-point conversion.
41-38, 91 seconds to go in the 4th quarter.
The Hamilton Tiger Cats have stepped up in a big way here today. You talked about the Montreal attitude, that belief they're going to win. The main guys that a team is going to take their cues from, number 1, the head coach. That's where you get your personality. And you saw Mark Trestman, there was no big celebration when they got that 2-point conversion. Very calm. The other is their quarterback. And Anthony Calvillo has shown that demeanor for years.
Well, they're trying the short kickoff here. It's up for grabs. And Hamilton has the football. There's a penalty flag. And again, in his first game, already a touchdown today, Ernest Jackson, the hands team on the field. Well, time management here as well. Quentin Porter and Marcel Belfay with final instructions here. A minute 28, a couple first downs here. You could almost be able to salt this one away, but let's listen to the call.
Major foul, Montreal, number 48 to 15-yard penalty. First down.
What a costly one. Let's take a look. First of all at the kick.
Yeah, big credit here to special teams coach Dave Easley for having his guys prepared, because a lot of times the guys in the front row, if they're expecting a deep kick, they're bailing out of there. But John Bowman came in with a late kick. That extra 15 yards, big given the condition of Nick Setta's leg. Horrible penalty to take it. A horrible time.
Porter will keep it on the ground. So again, there's a chance that Montreal could get this ball back. And once again, on this play, if they don't get the first down, what is the range? We really don't know. We haven't seen Nick Setta kick a field goal.
And the way we've seen him kick the ball on kickoffs, this would be a 43-yard field goal if Hamilton doesn't gain any more yards here. This would appear to be out of his range from what we've seen today. The possibility of a punt for a single point, though, could be critical, too, because Montreal couldn't tie with a field goal.
Porter to the sideline. Pass interference. Chip Cox on Scott Mitchell. And maybe now a moot point. Some extracurricular activity behind the play. Jermaine McElveen in there as well, and Cox, definitely interference.
Yeah, you saw Cox come over the shoulder with the right hand before the ball arrived. No question about this one. How about the fire of Quentin Porter, though? Jermaine McElveen got in his face, Porter got right back, and you know the big boys are going to step in a hurry when you get after the quarterback.
Well, now they really can just hang on to the football here. If they run a couple of plays and don't get to the end zone.
Well, they've got it would appear, the double tight end personnel on the field right now.
Forward pass interference, Montreal, number 11. After the play was over, the objection to conduct, Montreal, number 16. That's half the distance to the goal. First down.
Yeah, and it seems like a subtle thing, but for Quentin Porter to have, A, the confidence to throw that pass in that situation, and B, the poise to throw it with such accuracy that the only two things that could happen would be for Scott Mitchell to catch it or for Chip Cox to interfere with them at this stage of the game.
Have to protect the football. 53 seconds. Now again, if the Tiger Cats aren't able to punch this into the end zone and they settle for a field goal, this is well within Setta's range now. There still may be a few seconds left on the clock. That would mean that the Alouettes have to take it the distance.
And Hamilton had some issues figuring out what personnel to get on the field. Late substitution here.
Porter's in the shotgun. Hand it off though. And Trey Smith. Boy, for a moment there, dangerous with that football. And so now Nick Setta will come out with 30 seconds to go and make this a 6-point game if he can make this field goal.
I'm sure Nick Setta right now is wishing that they had run that play to the other side of the field to get the ball to the middle of the field to make this a little bit easier, because this isn't a gimme when you get down this close to the goal line. It makes that kick a tough angle. Those posts can look pretty narrow.
Well, a reminder, Winnipeg and Edmonton coming up from Commonwealth. Just getting underway there. We'll send you there as soon as this game is over. Still not over. 30 seconds to go, and we've seen what Anthony Calvillo, he's had a few miracles performed in the past. Now they're going to let this clock run down with the play clock as well. And will not give Calvillo a whole lot of time. This would have to be a Hail Mary for the most part. Again, you could take it from the 35-yard line, or do you get them to kick it off? Again, with Seta not kicking it very far, but then again, the clock would run out. You got to. This has to be some thinking here.
They're taking the ball on the 35-yard line.
Yeah, you got to think Hail Mary here. Seta kicks it through. So 8 seconds. And only time for one play here from the Montreal Alouettes. And very good management of the clock there from Marcel Belfay and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. That's something you could really screw up late in the ball game. You know, not properly managing the clock. And they did a very effective job.
The value of a Canadian football experienced offensive coordinator and now the head coach, Marcel Belfay.
Well, the Hamilton Tiger Cats trying to win one for that guy. Trying to just get a win. Losers of 6 in a row. 42 completions, a career high. Final play for Brian Brock. That leaves 1 second left on the clock.
And as it's been all day today, a throng of black jerseys all around the Montreal receiver.
Who would have thought at the beginning of this game? The Hamilton Tiger Cats banged up, beaten team, demoralized, had lost so many times, and now here's the lateral drill. This game is over, and the Hamilton Tiger Cats finally have a win for Marcel Belfay and have stopped their losing streak. Their 3rd victory of the season, and they shock the Montreal Alouettes.